An easement is a legally enforceable right to use someone else's land for a set amount of time in real estate. But what is an easement in gross? Today we talk about it. Hello everybody, it's Zach here from RealEstateLicenseWizard.com. Today we are discussing easements in gross and how they affect purchasing property. So let's start, like always, by taking a look at our definition. So what is an easement in gross? Well, an easement in gross is one that ties a specific right to a person or entity rather than the property itself. An easement in gross differs from regular easements because most easements run with the property, not a particular party. An easement in gross is commonly thought to be irrevocable for the duration of the individual's life. However, it can be nullified if the individual sells the property in which the easement was granted. So how exactly does this all work? Well, as addressed earlier, an easement in gross can be held by either a person or a business. If your family owns land that borders a highway and a local dairy farm wants to access the road by cutting through your land, your family could sell the dairy farm a commercial easement in gross. Easements are not property owners' rights. But if your family sells the land to a new owner, the new owner is not obligated to continue honoring the dairy farm's easement. An easement in gross sale is essentially a sale of the land rights to a third party without transferring legal ownership. Now let's look at a few examples. A homeowner may have a gross easement with a neighbor, allowing them to access their property by a path through the neighbor's land. The rights granted under the easement in gross cannot be conveyed to the next property owner if the homeowner sells the land, again because it's an easement in gross, unless that other party agrees. Then obviously that would be the case, but you need that third party or that neighbor to agree. Let's do another example. Let's say Mr. Jones owns a piece of land with an excellent fishing spot. Mr. Smith, a local fisherman, may be granted an easement in gross by Mr. Jones, allowing him to use the fishing hole. The easement expires if Mr. Jones sells the property or if Mr. Smith dies or moves away. In plain terms, easement in gross or easements in gross attach to the person, not the property. You don't have to be a neighbor to get an easement with broad or specific permissions because they tie to a person in general. So now it's worth noting that property owners are not the only parties that benefit from the use of easements. Utility companies such as water or electric companies may use easements to gain access to cables or piping that support the services that they provide. So one question I get asked all the time is an easement in gross appurtenant? And the answer is no. Appurtenant easements are connected to the land, not the party that occupies it. Remember, the term appurtenant is an adjective meaning it is attached to something. If something is appurtenant, it belongs to something else, either attached to or by law. An appurtenant easement is a type of easement that runs with the land. Unlike gross easements, appurtenant easements are attached to the land and transferred with the deed. With appurtenant easements, if the servient estate is sold, the new owner must enable the dominant estate's owner to keep using the land. Similarly, the easement will be transferred to the new owner if the dominant estate is sold. So in short, the main difference is that the users of an easement in gross aren't estates, instead they're persons like utility companies, businesses, services, or maybe just owners. See the difference? Hopefully. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about when I mention appurtenant or the dominant and servient estate, I'll leave a link down below and above for you to check out videos on that. We do have them on the channel. Now back to easements. So generally speaking, if you wish to get rid of an easement, you will almost always have to involve the courts, although there are some exceptions. With an easement in gross, it can be terminated in a few different ways, not involving the courts. And let me explain that. So the first and easiest way is to wait out the issue. An easement in gross will cease to exist when the property is transferred from the legal owner to a new owner. Since, by definition, the easement exists with the individual, not the estate or property itself, obviously the same goes with if the property owner dies or if the easement holder's property is alienated for any reason, such as foreclosure. Those all would result in this easement in gross being terminated. Get it? Hopefully. So what do you need to know for the real estate exam? Well, when it comes time for your real estate exam, you need to understand easements and the different types. Today we talked about the easement in gross. An easement in gross is one that ties a specific right to a person or entity rather than the property itself. An easement in gross differs from a regular easement because most easements run with the property, not a particular party. If you or your clients are unsure of a situation with an easement holder in the future, contact an attorney specializing in easements to help you further. If you keep everything in mind that we just went over, you will be good to go come exam day. If you enjoyed this video and still want to watch more, click the video here. And if you want to subscribe, click here. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.